The City of Thunder Bay has released its 2025 budget with the proposed tax levy coming in below the target. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The city has revealed this year's spending plan.
The 2025 budget comes with a 3.7% tax levy hike before factoring growth, which is just below what City Council had asked for. Vasilos Bellos is following the budget. And Vasilos, what does this mean for the average taxpayer?
Yeah, Riley, the tax hike will mean an estimated impact of $66 for every $100,000 of assessed home value. The document, of course, isn't yet set in stone, with public feedback opportunities and a number of council budget deliberation meetings, all leading up to ratification on February 10th.
All other cities of our size are coming in with tax rates significantly more than that.
The City of Thunder Bay and its manager, John Cullen, are satisfied they've produced the best possible budget for 2025. The $449 million spending plan comes with a proposed tax levy hike of 3.7%, just below the target of 3.8%. That'll result in a $66 increase in taxes paid for every $100,000 of assessed value of a home. Staff say the hike is the lowest out of any municipality in Ontario, with more than 100,000 people.
We're seeing targeted and approved levy increases in the high threes, all the way up to 12%. We have reviewed a list of about 17 municipalities, and the average is about 6%.
A figure on the operating side that continues to creep up in recent years is for the Thunder Bay Police Service. There's a 5.1% or more than $2.8 million increase in 2025. But Collins says it's something they're addressing.
Not necessarily focused on reducing them, but perhaps finding a different funding model with help from other levels of government to help us fund those rising costs.
Policing accounts for 22% of all property tax spending. As for the capital budget, it includes $32 million for the proposed indoor turf facility. Thunder Bay is currently operating with a $32 million annual infrastructure deficit, meaning that much needs to be spent every year just to keep infrastructure at current quality.
For the capital budget, we took an approach that for the entirety of the capital budget, 20% of our funds would go towards new things, 80% would go towards renewing old, starting to address that infrastructure deficit.
The public has an opportunity to have its say next Wednesday, with a budget Q&A session happening at 6:30 at the Italian Cultural Center. There will then be 3 budget meetings for City Council to debate the spending plan, leading up to ratification on February 10th. Vasilos Bellos, TBT News.
Thunder Bay Police addressed the media today regarding the city's first homicide of 2025.
An adult male died on Tuesday after he was found with critical injuries inside a 6th-floor apartment unit at McIver Court. Police confirm they do not yet have any suspects in custody. Brendan Miller reports.
Tuesday's murder at McIver Court came as a shock to most of its tenants. Now, 3 days later, Thunder Bay Police are providing further information about the incident itself and the victim. Deputy Chief Designate Jeremy Pearson had these details.
In terms of information that has not yet been made public, I can advise that the deceased male was 34 years of age. I can advise that we had initially secured 3 scenes. We have since released 2 scenes that the investigation has led us to believe are secondary. We're retaining what we believe is the primary scene while a postmortem is being conducted in Toronto. That postmortem is being conducted today.
Pearson then went on to disclose information on the method of the crime and public safety.
I can advise that this investigation has led us to believe that a weapon was involved in the incident. However, this is not a firearms-related homicide. We also do not believe at this time that this was a random act of violence, but rather that there was an interaction and an altercation that led to this tragic event. What I will say for the reassurance of the public, such as it is that this incident does not appear to have been random or an act of violence that targeted an individual who was unrelated to a situation.
At this point in time, that is all the information being provided by police, as it's still an ongoing investigation. Pearson mentioned persons of interest, but provided no names or mugshots to the media. And although police are withholding that information, they do ask that if any member of the public knows something, to contact them or Crime Stoppers. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
And there was another violent incident this morning at a different housing complex operated by the District Social Services Board. A large number of police officers, many of them in SWAT gear, responded to a call to Andrews Court around 9 a.m. City police will only say that it was a weapons incident, and fortunately there were no reported injuries. One person was taken into custody and a police presence remains in the area. Residents at Andrews Court and McIver Court have been calling on the DAAB for improved safety measures due to violence and other crimes. DAAB Chair Brian Hamilton says the board is now lobbying the government to change the Landlord-Tenant Act to allow them to evict known criminals from their buildings.
We're crystallizing an ask around the Landlord-Tenant Board so that we could expedite, hopefully be able to expedite some of the problematic tenants and just increase well-being overall for all of our tenants. But I mean, we can't do this alone. We need help from the ministries. After these two incidents, we're going with a serious ask, and we're going in there with some vigor, I think, this time.
Thunder Bay has officially surpassed its 2024 provincial housing target, according to data released by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation.
Local housing starts were up by 56 units over the year prior. City staff say that's a positive sign for the future. Jessica Clement explains.
The latest housing start data from the CMHC reports Thunder Bay saw 256 housing units started in 2024. That's the highest total numbers in the past 6 years and more than 20% higher than the total units in 2023. House Accelerator Fund project manager Summer Stevenson says this is great news for Thunder Bay.
This means that we have met our provincially assigned housing target and we're on track to hopefully meet it again next year, which will make it the third year in a row, which is fantastic news here in Thunder Bay.
The vast majority of the 2024 builds were multi-unit residences, including a 109-unit apartment complex on Golf Links Road and a 72-unit apartment building at the end of Fulton Boulevard. Stevenson says they want to promote housing variety and housing choice, which is why they're excited about the rise in construction of apartment buildings.
So when we talk about multi-unit housing starts, it's anywhere from a duplex to a 72-unit apartment building. And there's a lot of variety in there, which provides more opportunities for folks looking to break into the housing market, more opportunities for folks looking to downsize. So we see this as a good thing, and we are looking forward to continuing to promote that housing variety as we move forward with our Housing Accelerator Fund programs.
The one downside in the numbers is that the number of single-family home starts has been decreasing over the years. The 48 single detached homes last year was the lowest number in recent memory. Stevenson says a number of factors go into the decrease, including what land is available and various economic factors.
Some of the considerations when it comes to builders, developers looking to construct new homes is, if we look at our Housing Accelerator Fund, the incentives are available for multi-unit buildings. They're not there for the single detached homes.
However, there are a number of new subdivisions coming online over the next few years, many of them in the South Neebing area. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The Ford government has started sending out rebate checks as part of its effort to address the rising cost of living.
Eligible Ontarians can expect to receive a $200 check in the coming weeks. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the details.
The check should be arriving in your mailbox soon. $200 as long as you filed taxes last year. There's money going to parents who qualify for the Canada Child Benefit, too. The finance minister announced the move back in the fall.
Revenues were higher. It's the taxpayers' money, and many people are, struggling to pay the bills.
These rebate checks are costing the public purse $3 billion.
They just took a dozen eggs from you, but they're giving you 3 back.
Saying the government is taking by overspending on pet projects.
I think people have a right to know where this money is coming from, but at the same time, I know nobody's going to turn down a bit of help right now.
For months, opposition politicians have dismissed the rebates as a pre-ballot box bribe before a potential early vote they see as expensive and unnecessary.
He's not fixing the things that need to be fixed, like our healthcare system, our school system, and people want those things to change. A $200 check is not going to change those things.
Away from Queen's Park, there's mixed reaction.
They should have to spend it on the homeless people, help them out.
I think it's good for families. It's good for younger people You know, like there's been a lot of inflation these days, so I think it'll help them.
200 is nothing. It's pennies. So, you know, thanks, I guess, but that's really not where it's at.
The decision to send out cash under renewed scrutiny with the threat of U.S. tariffs looming large. The premier has promised tens of billions of dollars in stimulus spending if tariffs stick around, and also said he needs a new mandate to spend that kind of money, a position his finance minister defends.
Well, it's their money. And, you know, where we've got a path to balance, if we're going to respond to what may happen, I think it's fair to say, hey, you know, what are we going to do with your money?
Opposition leaders continue to insist the premier doesn't need a new mandate. They're ready to collaborate on tariff strategy. The Liberals and NDP well behind Doug Ford's Progressive Conservatives in public opinion polling. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Thunder Bay OPP have charged 5 people following the execution of 2 search warrants and a traffic stop this week. It comes after a months-long regional drug trafficking investigation. Over the course of Wednesday and Thursday, OPP, with the help from many specialized units and task force, seized cocaine, crystal meth, a loaded handgun, 2 rifles, and other evidence of drug trafficking. 3 people from Thunder Bay, aged 22, 38, and 64, face multiple charges, along with 2 other suspects, a 22-year-old from Atikokan and a 44-year-old from Calgary. All 5 accused remain in custody and have a future bail court hearing.
The Thunder Bay CEDC is celebrating its selection to participate in the province's Regional Economic Development through Immigration pilot program. Thunder Bay was one of just 4 rural areas chosen. The new initiative from the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development is meant to improve economic immigration outside of the GTA. The pilot program is similar to the federally backed Rural and Northern Immigration pilot, which came to an end in August. The province's program aims to support local employers by enhancing their ability to attract and retain skilled foreign workers. The CEDC has been awarded up to 200 nominations under the program's employer job offer stream. The CEDC's Jamie Taylor says this will greatly help meet the challenges faced by local businesses.
So as we know, labor is one of the #1 issues for employers, not only in Thunder Bay, but across Ontario and Canada. So this allows us to have another tool to be able, for them to be able to either attract or retain some of their newcomer employees that they may have.
The program will run until December 31st. More information will be provided by the CEDC in the upcoming weeks.
There's another lottery winner in the Thunder Bay area after a Kaministiquia man took home an Encore prize worth $100,000. Michael Niitanen said yes to Encore, and it certainly paid off for him. Niitanen matched the last 6 of 7 Encore numbers in the exact order during the December 6 Lotto Max draw. He says he was smiling from ear to ear when he went to the OLG Prize Center in Toronto to collect his winnings. Niitanen's winning ticket was purchased at the Esso station in Quebec Falls.
And not a bad way to kick off the holiday
No,
season
absolutely.
there at the beginning of December. All right, let's turn our attention to the weather now. Fiona, Mother Nature continues to be all over the place. We are now above seasonal and above the freezing mark.
Yeah, she's baffling. She's very baffling because today we had very mild temperatures in Thunder Bay, and the mild temperatures were felt through much of the region. Unfortunately, just snap your fingers and things are going to change, the exact opposite extreme moving in. So here in the city of Thunder Bay, high of 3 after an overnight low of -5, wind chills of -8. It was mostly cloudy, but winds have been picking up. So all in all, it's warm, but nothing overly exciting today. However, if we take a look at what's going on across the region, this is where things start to really change. Temperatures have been dropping pretty much all afternoon to the west. You can see the cooler temperatures, and these are actually kind of seasonal for this time of year, so what's the problem? Well, -12 in Red Lake, -11 in Kenora, -8 in Fort Francis. with the wind chill, those temperatures actually feel like 10 degrees colder than those numbers. So minus 22, minus 21, minus 18 wind chills. And that's with a lot of snow and blowing snow with winds gusting 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Now, as you head further east, you can see it once you hit Greenstone and along the North Shore, we're still in that warm zone. 2 Celsius in Nipigon, 1 in Marathon, and then we slip below in Greenstone to -1. They've had a relatively dry afternoon, but the snow has just started to move back in the last couple of hours along the eastern shores, Wawa at 0, 2 in Sault Ste. Marie. Now tonight, Thunder Bay is also going to fall into that cold zone, extreme cold. Last night, -5 was our low. Tonight, -20 and a wind chill of -29, winds ranging anywhere from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. But something that's very unusual for Thunder Bay, for this side of Lake Superior, we have a snow squall warning in effect for the city of Thunder Bay, Dorian, and Quebec. So, what does that mean? Well, with snow squall warnings, that means early this evening with the winds, they'll be hovering around 50 to 60 kilometers per hour for the next few hours. That 2 to 4 centimeters of snow that we're expecting will cause intense snowfall and brief periods of near zero visibility, which means stay off the roads if you can overnight. And if we take a look to the northwest, this whole red area, those are extreme cold warnings for that part of the region. Wind chills are going to hit -40 overnight, not just tonight, not just Saturday, but possibly into Sunday and maybe parts of early next week. Areas just north of Lake Superior, those are just weather statements suggesting that the visibility and roads could be questionable because they could see 10 centimeters or more of snow. So all in all, pick your area. There's something to worry about starting tonight and into the weekend. If people thought this was an easy winter, Mother Nature has something in store for them this weekend. And I do have to emphasize that if you're heading out between the roads, the visibility, and the cold, take precautions and think ahead.
Yeah, well, my running group for the firefighters 10 miles starts tomorrow, so you can blame us for all of this, I'm sure.
I think I will.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll see what happens and we'll see how many people show up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we do know someone who is in fact showing up for the Liberal leadership race. This was expected and now it is official. Chrystia Freeland will launch her bid over the weekend. Now this, of course, as Donald Trump's looming tariffs are a big topic of discussion right now in government. We'll have all of those details right after the break.
We will be strong and unequivocal in our defense of Canada and Canadians.